What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm really excited because Crystalfall releases today. This is a free-to-play action RPG, and for any of you that know me, you know that I have another YouTube channel focused on action RPGs, specifically Diablo Immortal. But that doesn't mean I'm only about one action RPG. I always have my eye out for what's next, like Path of Exile 2 just dropped, which is absolutely amazing. PC-focused, really in-depth action RPG. But one that no one's talking about is Crystalfall. I want to take a look at a bunch of the gameplay here today, and then I'm going to be doing a live stream or potentially some in-depth video here on the channel featuring this new ARPG that's free to play and going into early access beta for all people, well, like I said, starting today. So we're going to kind of look through gameplay as we're determining whether this game is going to be worth it. They pride themselves on having many different classes that you could play as and really being able to customize those classes. It also has a pretty the on-screen look right here. What we're used to seeing is pretty standard across the space, having your health and then having some kind of a mana that you can use that can be replenished over time. All right, now notice here, I want to go back to that really quickly because they have a talent tree that looks very in-depth, and if we think of Path of Exile, it has another very in-depth talent tree which gives the game a lot of complexity. Here it says extensive talent tree progression, so it leads me to believe we could potentially have a similar feel. Now, we're not looking at a Path of Exile Diablo type game. This is definitely more of a niche style with a little bit more of an indie feel, but still it looks quite good, and I particularly like these kinds of games. This one is also with some newer age stuff. Notice the character we're looking at right here is using a ranged weapon, but not a crossbow, is using a gun. And we don't typically see these types of weapons in this genre. So with this being said, they pride themselves in being a steampunk style game with both ranged and close quarter combat. Now let's take a pause right here because we're getting a good look at what's going on inside the bag. On the bottom of the bag, you have a bunch of items that you can equip. On the top of the bag are what are actually equipped on your character itself. We're looking at a knight right here, level 15, and you can see it's broken down by toughness, brilliance, trickery, and caliber. When you take a look, if we get a little zoom in here on the character, we're not looking at like crazy insane graphics that make you say, oh my god, that game looks incredible. But what I will say is the game does look really fun, and it seems to have a good amount of complexity to it that's going to keep us entertained for some time. And as you can see here, there's a lot of details regarding your core, main hand, offhand, and global. This is basically all of your stats for your character, which can be modified based off of your level or based off of the gear that you're utilizing. Also looking at the gear here, there are these holes in the gear, which lead me to believe this is some type of a gem slot where you can place a gem to give yourself different abilities, different strengths, etc., etc. And the gameplay looks really cool. I like that you have shielded type enemies that can use that weapon as a protection and as a weapon itself also, and just different types of attacks for the different classes. Now, of course, that's pretty standard across this type of a genre, but this is something brand new. Path of Exile came out, and that's a game that's been around for decades. Diablo 4 recently came out, or about a year ago, I shouldn't say recently, and that game is one that's been around for decades. Diablo Immortal is the best mobile action RPG right now, despite the pay-to-win mechanic inside of it, and that has been out now for 2.5 years, so there's nothing that's brand new until now. Now, this is the oldest trailer of all that we have to look at today, being a few months old, and it definitely does have a different look to it. So as you can tell, the game has evolved quite a bit in the past couple of months. If I were to look at this solely, I would say, you know, that probably doesn't look as good as I want it to look. It looks a little bit rudimentary. But seeing how they have upgraded the game and further developed it over the past couple of months really shows that they're dedicated to putting out a game that's really solid and competitive with others in the space as of right now. Even if we're competing with other games that are on the same platform like Undecember or Torchlight Infinite. I mean, you can see the difference as we go back to the newer footage of the game. What I really want to say here is, before we go diving into the socials and seeing what they have planned, is that I'm pretty excited about this one. That's why I'm featuring it here in the channel. My job here to do with you guys is to bring you games that I think are up and coming that may have potential that you may not have heard of. Everyone knows of the big ones that are dropping. Everyone knows Path of Exile 2 was dropping, but no one knows about this one, which is why I want to bring it to the light for all of you, so you could be someone that dives it on Steam, on the Epic Game Store, or even on their own platform where you could download the APK and play in your PC. It's just a great opportunity to dive into something new, to be one of the first players supporting a game. This is something I've done a lot over the years, getting in early, supporting games, typically AAA titles, but being able to do that here and actually make an influence on how the game develops over time is pretty awesome. And as we can see over on their X account, it's Crystalfall if you want to follow them. You'll notice it says, witness our new gameplay trailer, which is featuring our latest zones, dungeons, bosses, and socketables. We did talk about socketable items when we were just looking through those trailers, which is something that's kind of important when you're talking about this genre. And they also have a bunch of open beta challenges and rewards. So it looks like we can do things like log in day 1, you're a wanderer, log in 2 days, you're an explorer, log in for 3 days and you're an adventurer. You can get skin rewards, which are, looks like Cape Tier 1, complete the game on normal, hard, and apocalypse. Now, that's a little weird. Complete the game on normal and you get Cape Tier 1. I'm wondering how much gameplay is there? What does it take to go from day 1 inside of the game to completed status inside of the game, having completed the game? Is there a campaign, etc., etc.? So then we have a bunch of stuff for all the gear here. So helmet tier 1, socket a rare skill crest in a rare skill. Helmet tier 2, upgrade a skill to unique rarity through crafting vendor. Helmet tier 3, reach a total of 100 in combined character levels at the end of the open beta, including deleted characters. So it looks like it'll even count characters that you are no longer using. So we have things here. Boots tier 1. We will raffle out tier 1 boot skins to 10 lucky players who complete the boss Cogblade once per day on any difficulty, limited to 1 player account. So they have a lot of these things going on to help motivate people, entice people to play the game. We're going to throw a little heart on that one as well. And this is what some of the cosmetics look like right here. It doesn't seem like anything crazy right off the bat, but they will make us a little bit more customized than the other players. Notice tier 1 cape, tier 2, and you know your boy wants that tier 3 cape. But we're going to see if the game catches us and holds us enough to get it to that tier. And here are some of the helmet skins: an old rattled up helmet, one that's a little bit more beaten, and then one that has that nice charm to it that you can see as well, matching that cape. And now there's another post saying that this starts on December 13th. Explore our latest features in the hack and slash steampunk action RPG Crystalfall, 5 world zones, 5 mutant mobs, new weapons and gear, talent tree and skill tree socketables. Also, new bosses. It says, are you missing the old school days of Path of Exile and Diablo 2? Experience theory crafting action in dark steampunk themed dungeons in a world ravaged by the Nexus asteroid. So this is something that they're comparing to older versions of the games that are coming out with those newer versions now. Path of Exile just came out with Path of Exile 2 in the early access. Diablo 4, obviously there's been multiple of them, 5 versions of Diablo over the years. So they're trying to steal back that space where those games were at their core, and those was like the beginning of those games, or maybe not the beginning, but a little bit more developed through. It's a pretty cool opportunity here to dive into something new. It's something that, as I said, I'm also excited about. When we go into the Steam store, you'll notice that coming out in 2025, ARPG, hack and slash RPG action, and we know that we could get it on December 13th, which if you're watching this on the day that I'm releasing the video, that is today. So as it sits, I'm going to be playing this game on day 1. I'm going to either be live streaming it or putting out a video for it for you guys to introduce you even deeper into the title. We went through their website and took a look at that in a previous video. We looked at a bunch of trailers here today. Next up is to dive into the game. Let me know if this is something that you're excited for in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on my thoughts in game very soon.